The large screen in the control room showed a massive ship enter Earth's orbit. Admiral William Hayes stood with his hands behind his back, watching closely. His face showed no fear, but his heart beat faster. "Sir, it just appeared. Our systems didn't detect any approach," said Lieutenant Susan Clark, her voice shaking slightly. "It's bigger than anything we've ever built." "How many?" asked Hayes, his eyes not leaving the screen. "Just one, sir, but its size." Susan paused, checking readings. "It's about 3 miles long." The room fell silent. 20 years as head of the United Earth Defense Force had prepared Hayes for many things, but not this. First contact was always a possibility, but most people thought it would happen on some distant planet, not right above Earth. "They're broadcasting something, sir," said Communications Officer Greg Martinez. "It's on all frequencies, all channels, worldwide." Hayes nodded. "Put it through." The main screen changed to show a being unlike anything humans had seen before. It had blue skin, 4 eyes, and a mouth that seemed too wide for its face. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, "I am Delegate Vren of the Galactic Council. We have watched your development for some time. Your species has been deemed worthy of integration into our galactic community." President Eleanor Mitchell joined Hayes in the control room, surrounded by her advisors. Her normally confident face looked pale. "This should be good news," Vren continued. "Many species are not found worthy. However, membership requires contribution. The Council demands a tribute of 30% of your planet's resources annually. This will provide you with protection and access to Council territories." The room erupted in voices. Hayes raised his hand for silence. "This is not a request," said Vren. "This is the way of the galaxy. You have 30 Earth days to prepare your first payment. Details will follow." The screen went black. President Mitchell's voice cut through the shocked silence. "Did that alien just demand nearly a third of everything we have?" "Yes, Madam President," Hayes replied. "That's exactly what happened." Mitchell walked to the window, looking up at the sky where the alien ship waited. "Get me the United Nations on the line, and assemble a team to meet with these Council representatives. We need to understand exactly what we're dealing with." Hayes nodded. "I recommend Dr. Andrew Carter for the team. He's our best xenolinguist." "Good idea," said Mitchell. "We need someone who can read between the lines, even alien ones." 3 days later, Dr. Carter stood with 5 other specialists in a small shuttle approaching the alien vessel. Each was chosen for their expertise: diplomacy, biology, technology, psychology, and military strategy. "Remember," Carter told the team, "we're here to gather information. We need to understand their culture, their true capabilities, and whether there's room for actual negotiation." Ambassador Lisa Warren nodded. 30% would collapse our global economy. There must be alternatives they'd accept. Major John Phillips looked less convinced, or we need to know if we can defend ourselves. The shuttle docked with a gentle bump. The team gathered their equipment, each person trying to hide their nervousness. "What if this is just how things work out here?" asked Dr. Samantha Nelson, the team's biologist. "Maybe tribute is normal in space. Then we'll need to change what's normal." Carter replied as the airlock door began to open. "Humanity has never simply accepted unfair terms when presented with them." Light flooded in from the alien ship. The team stepped forward together, moving toward their first meeting with the Galactic Council representatives. They didn't know it yet, but this meeting would be the first step in a chain of events that would transform the power structure of an entire galaxy. What they learned in the next few hours would set humanity on a path no alien species had ever dared to take before. The human team followed a tall, thin alien with 6 limbs down a long hallway. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Dr. Andrew Carter tried to memorize every turn and door they passed. The alien ship was huge inside, even bigger than it looked from Earth. After walking for 10 minutes, they reached 2 massive doors that slid open without a sound. The room beyond made everyone stop and stare. It was a giant circle with rows of seats going up like a bowl. Hundreds of different aliens sat watching them. No two species looked the same. Some had many eyes, others had scales or fur, and a few seemed to float rather than sit. "The council chamber," their guide said. "You will stand at the speaking platform." The humans moved to a small circle on the floor in the center of the room. All the alien eyes followed them. A very tall being with a body like a praying mantis, but much larger, rose from the highest seat. Its voice boomed through the chamber without any visible speaker. "I am Grand Arbiter Skithalon," it said. "For 50,000 cycles, the Galactic Council has kept order among the stars. Species rise and fall. Planets live and die. But the Council remains." Carter felt the weight of ages in those words. 50,000 cycles could mean 50,000 years, or more. "Your species has caught our attention," Skithalon continued. "You are young, but dangerous. Your military thinking is unusual. Your technology develops in unexpected ways." Ambassador Lisa Warren stepped forward. "We come seeking peaceful." "Silence," Skithalon cut her off. "You are here to listen. The terms have been given. 30% of your planet's resources annually." Major John Phillips whispered to Carter, "They never planned to talk with us. This is a show of power." Carter nodded slightly. The room's design placed humans at the lowest point, with everyone looking down on them. It was meant to make them feel small. Skithalon spoke again. "Your species has potential to disrupt the balance we maintain. Your tributes will ensure you develop along acceptable paths." Warren tried again. "Earth respectfully asks to join as equal members. We offer cultural and scientific exchange instead of tribute." A strange sound filled the room. It took Carter a moment to realize it was laughter from hundreds of different alien throats. "Equality?" Skithalon's voice held something like amusement. "You mistake your place in the galaxy. You are newcomers. The terms are not negotiable." Jane Foster, the team's diplomacy expert, whispered to Carter, "This isn't going well." A blue-skinned alien near the front stood up. "I believe the humans misunderstand. Perhaps the terms were too generous." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Skithalon raised two of its limbs. "A valid point, Delegate Vren. Humans, your terms are revised. 40% of your resources. Complete demilitarization of your space. Council oversight of all your technology development." The humans looked at each other in shock. And Skithalon added, "You have 1 Earth month to begin compliance, not 30 days as first stated." Carter stepped forward. "May we have time to discuss this among ourselves?" "You may have 1 hour," Skithalon said, "though your acceptance is assumed." The team was led to a small side room. Once alone, Phillips slammed his fist against the wall. "This is impossible," he said. "They're not asking for tribute. They're demanding our surrender." "They're afraid of us," Carter said quietly. Everyone turned to look at him. "Did you notice? They'd mentioned our military thinking twice. They're worried about what we might become." "That doesn't help us now," Warren said. "We can't fight them. We can barely reach our own moon, and they cross between stars." Foster had been quiet, watching the walls. "We need to appear to agree," she said. "Buy time. Learn more." "Surrender?" Phillips looked angry. "No," Foster said. "Pretend to surrender. They expect us to give in. Let's use that." Carter nodded slowly. "We return to Earth with their demands. But we also return with information. The Council isn't as united as they want us to believe. I saw disagreement between some species when they thought we weren't looking." The team spent the rest of their hour planning what to tell Earth. They didn't know it yet, but the Council had made a serious mistake. They had shown humanity what they feared most. 1 week after the meeting with the Galactic Council, 20 of Earth's most important leaders gathered in a secret room deep under the Rocky Mountains. The room had no windows and no electronic connections to the outside world. No signals could get in or out. Admiral Hayes stood at the front of the room. Behind him, large screens showed pictures of the alien ship and the council chamber. "The situation is worse than we first thought," Hayes said. "But we also have good news." President Mitchell nodded for him to continue. "While the council was busy showing off their power, we were gathering information," Hayes explained. "Our team had hidden scanners in their clothes and equipment." He pressed a button, and the screens changed to show complex diagrams. "General Frank Wilson will explain what we found," Hayes said. General Wilson was a tall man with gray hair and a serious face. He stepped forward. "The council isn't as strong as they want us to think," Wilson said. "Their ships are advanced, but they haven't changed much in a very long time. They've stopped inventing new things." He pointed to parts of the diagrams. "We believe there are at least 12 other species paying tribute who don't want to," Wilson continued. "They're kept apart so they can't work together. Each one thinks they're special cases." The room was quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. "Can we fight them?" asked a woman from the European Union. Wilson shook his head. "Not directly, not yet. But we found something else." He stepped aside as Chief Science Officer Sofia Rodriguez came forward. She was younger than most people in the room, but her eyes showed a sharp mind. "While the council was scanning our weapons, we were scanning their ships," Rodriguez said. "They use a kind of faster-than-light travel that we had theories about but never built. Our approach might actually be better than theirs." "You mean we could build ships that can travel between stars?" asked the Chinese leader. "Yes," Rodriguez answered. "But more importantly, our method would work differently than theirs. They wouldn't be able to track our ships the way they track each other." President Mitchell stood up. Everyone turned to look at her. "I'm going to be direct," she said. "We have 3 weeks before we must start giving the council what they want, or at least make them think we are." She looked around the room. "I'm asking every nation to join a project like nothing we've done before," Mitchell continued. "We need to build ships in secret. We need to find the other species who are paying tribute. We need to learn everything we can about the council." "This will cost a fortune," said the leader from India. "Less than giving away 40% of everything on Earth forever," Mitchell replied. Rodriguez spoke again. "We're calling it Project Phoenix. We'll need to build hidden factories under the oceans and on the far side of the moon." "What do we tell our people?" asked the Brazilian president. "The truth, mostly," Mitchell said. "That we're dealing with the council the best way we can. We'll announce that we've agreed to their terms. The public news will show us preparing the tribute." Hayes added, "Meanwhile, we build our ships and train our crews in secret." "It's a big risk," Wilson warned. "If the council finds out, they might destroy Earth." "It's a risk we have to take," Mitchell said firmly. "Humanity doesn't survive by giving in to bullies, no matter what planet they come from." One by one, each leader in the room nodded. "Project Phoenix starts today," Mitchell said. "Now let's talk about what we're going to put in that first fake tribute shipment." The room filled with determined voices. On the screens behind them, the alien ships still circled Earth. They looked powerful, but they had no idea what was about to happen. Humans had always been good at doing the impossible when their backs were against the wall. Commander Eric Johnson carefully guided his ship through the edge of Council space. The ship was small and dark, designed to be hard to see. It was one of the first vessels built under Project Phoenix, finished just 2 months after Earth had sent its first tribute shipment to the Council. "Status report," Johnson said quietly, though no one outside could hear him anyway. "All systems normal," replied Lieutenant Maria Garcia. "Our new drive is working perfectly. No Council ships have spotted us." Johnson nodded. The Hayes Rodriguez drive, named after the admiral and the scientist who led its development, worked differently than Council technology. It left no energy trail for the aliens to follow. "How far to Kepler 9? Johnson asked. 3 hours at current speed," Garcia answered. Kepler 9 was a rocky planet rich in rare minerals. According to information hidden in the Council's own data, it was home to a species called the Volari, who were forced to mine resources for the Council. Earth's plan was simple but dangerous. Find other species paying tribute and build a secret alliance. Each contacted species would help reach others. Together, they might have a chance against the Council. Johnson spent the next hours reviewing information about the Volari. They were silicon-based life forms who could survive in environments that would kill humans. They looked like walking crystals and lived much longer than humans. "We're approaching Kepler 9, Garcia announced. 2 Council ships in orbit. "Activate full stealth," Johnson ordered. "Take us down in the mountain region near the main mining site." The ship slipped past the Council vessels and entered the planet's atmosphere. They landed in a deep canyon where the ship's dark hull blended with the shadows. "Atmosphere is toxic," Garcia reported. "We'll need the special suits." Johnson and 3 crew members put on protective suits designed for this mission. The helmets had special translators to help them speak with the Volari. "Remember," Johnson told his team, "we're not here to force anything. We're offering an alliance of equals. If they refuse, we leave peacefully." They left the ship and walked toward the mining site. The landscape was beautiful in a strange way, with crystal formations growing naturally from the ground. But large areas had been destroyed by mining, leaving ugly scars on the planet. As they approached the main site, several Volari appeared. They were about the height of humans but thinner, with bodies that sparkled in the light of their sun. They carried simple tools that could also serve as weapons. "We mean no harm," Johnson said, his translator converting his words to the clicking language of the Volari. "We're from Earth." The tallest Volari stepped forward. "Earth? The new tribute world." The translator made the voice sound flat, but Johnson could sense suspicion. "Yes, but we do not accept that role," Johnson replied. "We've come to speak with your leaders about working together against the Council." The Volari seemed shocked. They spoke quickly among themselves in their clicking language. "I am Exor, leader of this mining group," the tall one finally said. "Why would humans risk defying the Council? They would destroy your world." "Because freedom isn't negotiable for us," Johnson said, "and we believe it shouldn't be for you either." Soar studied Johnson for a long moment. "Many cycles ago, we fought the Council. We lost badly. Half our population died. This time would be different," Johnson said. "Earth has discovered weaknesses in Council technology, and we're contacting all tribute species, not just the Volari." "What exactly do you propose?" Kautzor asked. "An alliance, information sharing, and when the time comes, coordinated action," Johnson explained. "The Council keeps all tribute species apart for a reason. Together, we're stronger." Soar led them to a hidden cave where they could talk safely. Inside, other Volari waited, including elders whose crystal bodies had grown complex patterns with age. For hours, Johnson shared Earth's plans. The Volari shared their knowledge of Council patrol routes and defense systems. "The Council believes they've broken our spirit," an elder Volari said. "They are wrong." By the time Johnson's team returned to their ship, they had the beginning of an alliance and information about 2 more species who might join them. As they left Kepler 9's atmosphere, Johnson felt hope for the first time since the Council had appeared above Earth. One by one, the pieces were coming together. The day of the deadline arrived. A large Council ship waited in Earth's orbit to collect the first official tribute payment. On the surface, everything looked normal. News channels showed workers loading containers with valuable minerals onto special ships built just for this purpose. Government officials made speeches about cooperation and the new galactic reality. Behind the scenes, it was all carefully planned theater. Ambassador Jane Foster stood in the main tribute transfer station, wearing her most formal uniform. A group of Council representatives had come down to inspect the first shipment. Their leader was the blue-skinned alien named Vren who had first contacted Earth. "Everything seems to be in order," Vren said, looking at a device that scanned the containers. "The Council is pleased with your compliance." Foster nodded, her face showing respect while hiding her true feelings. "Earth recognizes the wisdom of the Council and submits to its judgment," she said, using the exact words she had practiced. Vren smiled, revealing teeth that looked too sharp. Your species shows unexpected wisdom. Your compliance will be rewarded with minimal interference in your internal affairs. We are grateful, Foster replied. What Vren didn't know was that each tribute container held more than just minerals. Tiny tracking devices were hidden inside, designed by Earth scientists to be undetectable by Council technology. Every Council ship that received Earth goods would be tracked by hidden Earth satellites that had been secretly deployed throughout Council space. The technical data about Earth's infrastructure that was included in the tribute was also carefully altered. It showed Earth as less advanced than it really was. As the Council representatives left, Admiral Hayes met Foster in a private room. "Well done," Hayes said. "Did they suspect anything?" Foster shook her head. "No, they're too confident. They believe we've accepted our place." Hayes looked out the window at the departing Council ship. "That's their mistake. How long before the trackers start working?" "As soon as they enter their FTL drive," Foster replied. "We'll be able to map their entire supply chain." "Good," Hayes said. "What about our ships?" "Nearly ready," Foster said. "The moon base has finished 20 vessels. The underwater Pacific facility has 30 more, all with the new drives and weapons." Hayes nodded, satisfied. "And Project Lightning?" Foster smiled slightly. "Dr. Rodriguez says it's working better than expected. The shield technology is unlike anything the Council has. They won't know how to counter it." The door opened, and President Mitchell entered. She looked tired but determined. "The Council just sent a message," she said. "They're pleased with our wise decision and have sent a schedule for the next 5 tribute collections." "Little do they know," Hayes replied. Mitchell's face was serious. "This is the most dangerous time. We need to appear completely broken while finishing our preparations." "The alliance is growing," Foster added. "Commander Johnson has contacted 4 more species. The Volari have reached out to 2 others. That's 7 species now working together." "And the Council suspects nothing?" Mitchell asked. "Nothing," Hayes confirmed. "Their arrogance blinds them. They've ruled for so long they can't imagine being challenged." Mitchell walked to a large screen showing Earth from space. "How much longer until we're ready?" 3 more months, Hayes said. "We need to finish building the fleet and coordinating with our allies. Then for 3 more months, we play the obedient tribute world," Mitchell said. "Every public statement, every broadcast, every official action must show compliance." Foster nodded. "The Council thinks they've won. Let them enjoy that feeling while it lasts." Later that day, Foster watched from Earth as the Council ship jumped into FTL travel. On her private screen, a small dot appeared, tracking the ship's movement. Then another dot appeared, and another, as Earth's hidden technology began mapping the Council's network. In hidden facilities around Earth and the Moon, humans worked day and night building ships unlike anything the Council had seen before. Under the oceans, massive construction projects continued in secret, and in deep space, Commander Johnson's diplomatic vessels traveled from world to world, bringing more species into the alliance. The Council had demanded tribute. What they would get instead was a revolution. 6 months after Earth's first tribute payment, Commander Eric Johnson sat in a hidden meeting room on a small moon orbiting a gas giant. Around him were representatives from 7 different species, each one forced to pay tribute to the Council. The room buzzed with different languages, all translated through special devices developed by Earth scientists. "Today is the day," Johnson said. "Operation Liberation begins in 12 hours." The plan they had worked on for months was simple in concept but complex in execution. Their combined forces would strike 17 tribute collection centers simultaneously. These were stations where the Council gathered resources from multiple worlds before distributing them. Tuxor, the Volari leader, spoke next. "My people have disabled the alarm systems at 3 collection points. They will not be able to call for help." A representative of the Nuveri, a species with 4 arms and golden skin, added, "Our ships are in position. The Council believes they are normal tribute transports." Each species had contributed what they could. Some provided technology, others intelligence about Council movements, and some offered warriors eager to fight for freedom. Meanwhile, near Earth, Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, the largest ship humans had ever built. Around it, 50 smaller vessels moved into formation. None of them had the Council's typical design. They were sleek, dark, and built for both speed and power. "Status report," Hayes ordered. "All ships report ready." "Admiral," replied Captain Olivia Bennett. "Weapons and shields at full capacity. The Hayes-Rodriguez drives are functioning perfectly." Hayes looked at the main screen showing Earth below them. For months, they had hidden their fleet behind the moon, building in secret while appearing to comply with Council demands. Now it was time to reveal what humanity had created. "Send the signal to all Allied forces," Hayes ordered. "Operation Liberation is a go." Throughout Council space, hidden ships powered up their engines. On 17 tribute worlds, workers who had seemed broken and obedient for years suddenly turned against their Council overseers. The first tribute collection station to fall was in the Centauri system. 3 ships that looked like normal transports suddenly opened fire, their weapons far more powerful than the Council expected. The station's defenses fell within minutes. The second and third stations fell just as quickly. By the time the Council realized what was happening, 7 collection points were already under the control of the Alliance. The Council forces finally began to respond, sending warships to protect the remaining stations, but they were scattered and disorganized, not used to being challenged. Admiral Hayes led the Earth fleet toward the Council's central communication hub. This massive station coordinated all Council activities across hundreds of star systems. Taking it would throw the Council into chaos. "Council ships approaching," Bennett reported. 5 large vessels. They're charging weapons. "Hold course," Hayes ordered. "Activate shields when they're in range." The Council ships fired, energy beams streaking toward the Defiance. The shields flickered but held strong. "Return fire," Hayes commanded. The Earth vessels fired weapons based on technology the Council had never explored. Their first volley damaged 2 Council ships. The second disabled their weapons. Hayes opened a communication channel to his fleet. "Remember why we fight," he told his crews. "We're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for the principle that no sentient species should be forced to pay for its right to exist." Across 17 star systems, the battle continued. The Council had more ships, but the Alliance had surprise and determination on their side. And something else the Council never expected: the willingness to work together. On the Volari homeworld, citizens watched in amazement as Council troops surrendered to the resistance. On the Nuveri mining colonies, the first free elections in 1,000 years were already being planned. When the Council finally gathered a significant counterattack force, they discovered their weapons weren't nearly as effective against Earth vessels as they should have been. Dr. Rodriguez's shield technology absorbed or deflected energy that would have destroyed any normal ship. By the time the Earth Day ended, the Alliance had liberated 17 worlds from Council control. The news spread quickly through subspace communications. The tribute system was breaking down. The Great Galactic Council, ruler of 1,000 worlds, had been caught unprepared by species they thought were beaten. In an emergency chamber deep in Council space, the most powerful members of the Galactic Council gathered to discuss this unprecedented crisis. The Grand Council chamber was in chaos. For thousands of years, the most powerful species in the galaxy had met here in calm, orderly sessions. Now representatives shouted at each other while guards tried to maintain some kind of order. Grand Arbiter Scathellon stood at the center, trying to speak over the noise. "We must respond with overwhelming force. This rebellion. This is your fault," shouted a representative from a species that had long enjoyed special privileges. "You said the humans were contained." No one could have predicted this level of cooperation between tribute worlds. Scythalon replied. It is unprecedented. Another council member rose. 17 collection stations lost. 22 council warships destroyed or captured. This goes beyond a simple rebellion. The chamber doors opened, and security guards escorted in a group of representatives from the council's military division. Their leader, a tall, thin being with gray skin and no visible eyes, spoke directly. The situation is worse than reported, he said. We've lost contact with 32 tribute worlds. The human ships use technology we cannot track. And most concerning, the shield technology they've shared with their allies renders our primary weapons almost useless. Silence fell across the chamber as the full scale of the crisis became clear. Remove him, ordered a senior council member, pointing at Scythalon. His failure is complete. Guards approached the Grand Arbiter, who did not resist as they led him away. In his place stepped Arbiter Vexnol, a member of a warrior species known for their aggressive policies. I will handle this rebellion, Vexnol announced. Humanity has proven itself the threat we always feared. They must be eradicated as an example. Meanwhile, on a space station in neutral territory, representatives from Earth and the liberated worlds met to form a new organization. They called it the Galactic Cooperative. Ambassador Foster spoke to the gathered delegates. The cooperative has one basic principle: mutual respect and fair trade between all sentient species. No tribute, no forced labor, no subjugation. Commander Johnson added, already 32 worlds have joined us. Some were tribute worlds. Others were neutral systems that feared the Council's expansion. Reports came in hourly about new developments. Council ships retreating from border regions, previously neutral species declaring support for the cooperative, even some privileged council members secretly reaching out to discuss changing sides. On Earth, President Mitchell addressed the people in a global broadcast. For the first time in recorded galactic history, species are choosing cooperation over subjugation. This was never just about defending Earth. It was about standing for what's right, regardless of the odds. The speech was interrupted by an urgent message. Mitchell read it and looked up with a serious face. The Council has assembled its entire armada. They are heading for Earth, she announced. They believe that by striking at humanity, they can break the alliance. Instead of panic, a sense of calm determination spread across Earth. The planet had been preparing for this possibility. Admiral Hayes called an emergency meeting of the cooperative's military leaders. The Council is making exactly the mistake we hoped for, he said. They think Earth is the weak point. They don't realize we're ready for them. Vexor, now a general in the cooperative forces, asked, how many council ships? Over 300, Hayes replied. Their entire remaining fleet. Can Earth's defenses hold against so many? Asked a Nuveri commander. Hayes smiled slightly. They won't need to. Because Earth won't be alone. Throughout the newly formed cooperative, ships received the alert. Every available vessel was called to Earth's defense, not because Earth demanded it, but because the member worlds chose to stand together. The Council Armada moved steadily toward Earth, led by Arbiter Vexnol's massive command ship. They expected to find a single planet with a small defensive fleet, a quick victory that would restore the Council's reputation and break the rebellion. The humans have shown remarkable abilities, Vexnol told his commanders. But they are still just one species. Once Earth falls, the others will lose heart and return to their proper place. What the Council didn't know was that Earth had become a symbol to dozens of species who had lived under Council rule for too long. The humans hadn't just built ships and weapons, they had created hope. As the Council fleet prepared for the final jump to Earth's system, sensors across the galaxy tracked their movement. The trap was set. All that remained was for the Council to spring it themselves. The Council fleet arrived at Earth's solar system expecting to find a single planet with limited defenses. Instead, they found themselves facing the largest gathering of ships ever seen in the galaxy. Over 500 vessels from 32 different species formed a defensive line around Earth. Each ship was unique, reflecting the culture and technology of its builders, but all shared the advanced shields developed by Earth scientists. On the bridge of the EDS Defiance, Admiral Hayes watched as the Council fleet dropped out of FTL travel and came to a sudden stop. "They didn't expect this," Hayes said quietly. "No, they didn't," agreed Ambassador Foster, who stood beside him. Their entire strategy was based on the idea that species wouldn't unite. Hayes opened a communication channel to the Council flagship. "This is Admiral William Hayes of Earth. You've come expecting to find an isolated planet ready for punishment. Instead, you've found the galaxy has changed. Your tribute system ends today." On the Council flagship, Arbiter Vexnull stared at the massive fleet before him. For the first time in his long life, he felt uncertainty. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his officers. "How could so many ships gather without our knowledge?" There was no good answer. The Council's information network had failed completely. "We still outnumber many of their ship types," a military advisor suggested. "We can target the weaker vessels first." Vexnull nodded. "Begin the attack. Focus on the smaller ships from the minor species." The Council fleet advanced, weapon systems charging. But as they came within range, the cooperative fleet did something unexpected. Rather than forming a traditional battle line, they broke into smaller groups, moving in patterns the Council had never seen before. "What are they doing?" Vexnull asked. His question was answered as the first Council ships fired. Their energy weapons dissipated harmlessly against the advanced shields. Then the cooperative ships returned fire. The battle was brief but decisive. Council ships, facing technology they didn't understand and tactics they couldn't predict, found themselves disabled rather than destroyed. The cooperative forces targeted engines and weapon systems, intentionally avoiding life support areas. Within an hour, half the Council fleet was drifting powerless in space. The rest had retreated to a defensive position, unsure how to proceed against an enemy that seemed to know their every weakness. Hayes opened the channel again. "Arbiter Vexnull, we could destroy your remaining ships, but that is not our way. The cooperative offers terms. The Council does not negotiate with rebels," Vexnull replied, but his voice lacked conviction. "Then the Council will fall," Hayes said simply. "Look around you. Species that paid tribute for centuries now stand as equals. Even now, more of your own member worlds are joining us. The old system is over." 5 tense minutes passed before Vexnull responded. "What are your terms?" "The end of the tribute system, a reformed council with representatives from all species given equal standing, and a new galactic charter establishing principles of self-determination and mutual assistance." In the days that followed, delegates from across the galaxy gathered on a neutral space station to draft the new charter. Dr. Andrew Carter led the Earth team, working alongside representatives from over 50 species, including many former Council worlds. The new Council would be a true governing body, not an instrument of control. Its purpose would be to resolve disputes, coordinate disaster response, and facilitate cultural and scientific exchange. No species would rule over others. 5 years later, Admiral Hayes stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, the massive space hub built through cooperative effort at a point equidistant from the major populated worlds. Ships from hundreds of species docked at the station, trading goods and ideas freely. Ambassador Foster joined him, now representing Earth in the new Galactic Assembly. Not bad for a species they thought would just hand over everything they demanded. Hayes smiled. "That's the thing about humans. We don't just fight when our backs are against the wall. We reimagine what's possible." They'd wanted tribute. Instead, we gave the galaxy its freedom. The former Council species were now equal partners in the new galactic community. Some had adapted quickly to the change, discovering that cooperation yielded more prosperity than exploitation ever had. Others had resisted longer but eventually recognized the benefits of the new system. As Hayes looked out at the diverse ships moving around the station, He felt proud of what humanity had accomplished. Earth had not only survived, it had transformed the galaxy. What had begun with a demand for tribute had ended with a new era of peace and cooperation between species who had once been enemies.